All right, today we are on lesson 17, learning about Greek and Latin word parts. So a lot of words in the English language actually come from many other languages, including Greek and Latin. And they are broken apart into different word parts. So the first is a root. And I'm sure that you guys have heard of that before, sometimes called like a root or a base word. But the root is a word part that it usually cannot stand alone as a word. And sometimes one root can be added to another. They give the example here of photograph or photograph. Well, we can see here that the root photo is being added to another root, graph, meaning light and right. Let's take a look here though. Sometimes you can see the second table. Sometimes there are word parts that we call affixes. Those consist of prefixes and suffixes. So we know what prefixes and suffixes are. Prefixes come at the beginning of the word. Suffixes are added at the end of the word. So we add these to the roots to make a new word. So if you look, you can add the root vis to ible to make the word visible. If we look, let's see, vis means see, and then ible means to make able or capable. So visible must mean able or capable to see. We know that because we know the word visible and what it means. Now we know it's different word parts. So what we have here are a couple different examples that we're going to take a look at today. And we are going to circle the root in the underlined word. Then we are going to write the meaning of each root. And then instead of telling a partner what the meaning of the underlined word is, we're just going to discuss it in this video. So let's take a look at question or sentence number 1. My favorite actor is Jessie B. Well, let's identify the different word parts here. I see the root act is right here, so I'm going to circle that. And then we have the other word part, O-R. And I can see that is right here. So act is or means do. And then that suffix or means someone who. So if I had to think about the meaning of the word actor, then I think that it's like someone who will do, someone who does. Well, I know actors in movies are people who like play the role, someone who does that part or that role. Let's look at the second example, number 2. I have 5 photographs of Jessie B on my wall. Well, we talked about that one just a moment ago. This word is actually broken into 2 different roots, and they are photo and graph. And we learned earlier that photo means light and graph means right. Photograph actually means that you are going to write using the light. So we often think of like a camera, right? And then we can take a picture with it. Well, what you're doing is you're using the light to kind of capture or write what it is that your camera lens is viewing or looking at. Let's look at example number 3. One even has an autograph on it. Now, I know that many of you probably know the meaning of the word autograph. So let's look at how it's broken apart into its different word parts. Well, graph, we just said means write. We said that in the first example here, or the previous example. Now, what about auto? Do you see it on our chart anywhere? Right, it's right here. It means self. So when we have these different word parts, self and right, well, you know that if I ask you to give your autograph, that means I'm kind of like asking you to sign here on the line or to give your signature. So you're writing yourself or your own name. Let's look at the last example here. Oops. There's 2 more, sorry. I've asked my mom if I could telephone Jessie B. Well, let's take a look. What are the different word parts that we have here? Look at the chart and look at this underlined word. I see one. It's the root phone. And phone right up here means sound or voice. So this part means sound, or it can also mean voice. Now that sounds kind of familiar. We talk about using the telephone. Don't you hear someone's sound or voice through the phone? But what's the first part of that word? Tele. Do you see that anywhere on either of our charts? Right, it's right here. And that prefix means distance. So I guess when I'm talking about the word telephone, that means to hear someone's sound or voice from a distance. Let's look at the last example. She said I could just watch Jessie B on television. Well, we just said that tele means distance. What about vision? Right, we don't see vision, but we do see VIS, which means see. And that makes sense because if we're looking at our television or our TV, we are seeing people that are actually located away, meaning off in the distance. They're not actually acting right in front of us in our living room. We're watching it through our television. Today you have 4 examples. You are going to look at an underlined word used in a sentence, and you have to determine the meaning of this underlined word when you break it apart into its prefix and its root. Great job.